Finally, Fox 13's camera was rolling inside the courtroom when suddenly there was a scream on the other side of the door. Judge Paula Scan said an inmate stabbed another with a makeshift knife inside the holding area behind her courtroom.
And he was like, "Please don't let me die." Now he was holding his neck. They say he got stabbed in the main artery.
Dricus Dalton was in the courthouse when it happened.
Oh, I was shocked. I was shocked because this is a courtroom. They supposed to have everything, legit. Everything supposed to be well secured.
A man was tragically unalived after being stabbed by another inmate in a holding area of a Memphis courtroom Thursday morning. The victim, Deion Byrd, was one of multiple Shelby County Jail inmates who had been brought up to the Criminal Court Division 1 for separate court appearances at around 9:20 a.m. Just minutes after the inmates were brought into the holding area, yelling could be heard by a reporter whose camera was set up in the courtroom. Allegedly, the voice was that of Deion Byrd, who screamed, "Y'all can't do this to me," followed by a number of bailiffs rushing into the room. Deion was eventually escorted out, holding his hand over his neck and mouth area, and according to a witness, he said, "Don't let me die," and later said he was stabbed in the main artery in his neck. Minutes later, another man was pulled from the holding area and was yelling at the bailiffs as they escorted him away. Deion would be rushed to the Regional 1 in critical condition and was later pronounced unalive. Deion and the man were both inmates at the Shelby County Jail, and the man who stabbed him has not been identified. It was said to be unclear how an inmate got a shank into the courtroom and through jail security or why he stabbed him. According to court, normally defendants who are incarcerated will be taken directly to the courtroom's holding area to limit contact with the public. However, the elevator from the jail to the Division 1 courtroom appeared to be down Thursday morning, as the inmates that morning were escorted from across the hall to her years there. She would go on to say, "I can't understand how an inmate had a shank and was able to bring it up into a courtroom type setting, and it's beyond frightening. This man could have stabbed anyone in that courtroom, which is scary." The background of Deion shows that he was currently being arraigned for charges coming from a gang unit operation. The operation was called Broken Bottle and was targeting smash and grab burglaries and had led to the indictment of 15 people. Allegedly, during one of these smash and grabs, Deion would be involved in a fatal car crash. He was also facing charges in a number of additional cases, all varying in their charges. After learning of the incident, Deion's family would express their dismay and take to social media to say, "Deion Byrd, 25, unalived at a courthouse. Please make this make sense. How can the inmate bring in a shank to court? Where were the guards? Do they not check inmates for weapons? Someone failed to do their job. This should have never happened. We are outraged and we want answers. How could you not contact his parents to let them know what happened? Just because he's locked up does not mean that he does not have loved ones or family members that care about him." However, the family was not told what was happening until it was too late. Sadly, just a little over 2 years ago, the mother of Deion, Laquita, lost another son who was also 25 at the time to gun violence and is still struggling to deal with that loss when all of this took place. Her son Willie was unalived on October 10th, 2021, and she said she just can't recover from it no matter how hard she tries, according to a Facebook post nearing the second-year anniversary. No one was charged with the unaliving of Willie, and that left the door open to so many questions for this grieving mother.
I spoke to Laquita Byrd just moments ago, and she told me she didn't hear from anyone from the sheriff's office until about 3 o'clock this afternoon. She says this morning she knew her son had a court appearance, And instead of hearing from his attorney about how it went, it was the attorney appointed to her son that told her he was killed. Now, her son, Deon Byrd, was 25 years old. The sheriff's office says he was stabbed by another inmate behind a courtroom as he was waiting to stand before a judge. Laquita Byrd says this is the second son she's lost to violence here in Memphis. She describes Deon as lovable and kind and says although he wasn't perfect, no one should die like this.
Just want answers as to how can you be in the custody of the police and you're supposed to be in like one of the safest buildings, right? All the metal detectors, all the deputy sheriffs, everybody's here. Nobody knew that this inmate that they put him in the tank with had a sharp metal object.
Now, Fox 13 searched court records and found Deon Byrd was charged earlier this year in what Memphis police called Operation Broken Bottles. Several people were arrested for breaking into liquor stores around town. Byrd also faced a murder charge. He was allegedly involved in a deadly crash after one of those burglaries back in January. He was due in court this morning as part of a separate legal case out of Collierville.
This is definitely a wild situation, and no telling if that man had another plan to hurt others. There are so many questions because Deon allegedly said, "Y'all can't do this to me." If it was one inmate, so why was he yelling y'all? The inmates were not in a cell, just a holding room, so why were they not shackled at the hands? Regardless of Deon being an inmate, he was supposed to be in one of the most secure places, a courthouse, and the tragedy strikes. May this family find some kind of peace in the coming days. Please comment your thoughts on this situation and tell me what you believe happened. Also hit that like button, please, and share. Make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.